Well, here to break down UFC 292, we are joined by our MMA analyst, Aaron Bronsteter. So, Aaron, Sean O'Malley was already a pretty big star before fighting Aljamain Sterling, but now with a highlight reel finish like we saw on Saturday night, what does this do for O'Malley's career?
Yeah, absolutely. It elevates him to a major stratosphere as a star in the sport. And the reason why is because if you look at his resume leading up to this point, there were a lot of question marks. Most of his wins have come against fighters that are no longer in the UFC. He then has a no contest against Pedro Munoz, who fought earlier on the card, and then a very questionable decision win over Piotr Jan. I think a lot of people were wondering going into this fight against Aljamain Sterling whether or not he was the real deal. Well, he showed us tonight that he was the real deal. That step back right hand as a counter to Aljamain Sterling overcommitting to his punch, which was a massive mistake for Aljamain Sterling. It showed the kind of power and precision that he possesses, and that's what's got him to the big show. He needed to deliver the goods tonight. This was the best finish of his career, the best win of his career on this sort of a stage, at this sort of a level, and I think that it really is going to elevate him to new levels of superstardom in the sport, which the sport has sorely needed.
Yeah, he's certainly incredible when the fight stays on the feet too, right? Now, Winnipeg's Brad Katona became the first two-time Ultimate Fighter champion. Why was this accolade so significant?
It's really the road that he traveled to get there. I mean, Brad Katona is the first Canadian to ever win a standard season of The Ultimate Fighter. He gets into the UFC and has some ups and downs, but one of those losses was to Merab Dvalishvili, who's one of the absolute top guys in the division. He wasn't at the time. Then he loses to an undefeated fighter, and they decide to release him. After that, he goes overseas to the Middle East and beats some just absolute wrecking balls that have incredible records to get back to The Ultimate Fighter. Doesn't get back into The Ultimate Fighter. They reject him for the show. But then the coach ends up being Conor McGregor, whose head coach, John Kavanagh, is also the trainer for Brad Katona. They convinced the UFC to put him back on the show. So he has to go through all of that, and then he needs to win his fights.
Right.
He goes and wins his two fights, one of which is against the guy that was expected to come out of the division in the semifinals. And now he ends up winning one of the toughest fights of his career, one of the all-time epic Ultimate Fighter finals. An unbelievable fight against Cody Gibson to really put an exclamation point on it. I think he was down with about 2 minutes left in that final round. He ends up coming back and winning that round, becoming the first person to win the Ultimate Fighter twice, which is an accolade in and of itself. So it was the road less traveled for Brad Katona, which I think makes it extra special.
Yeah, UFC 292, full of everything from Boston. Aaron, thanks so much for joining us.